Hello, everybody. We start now the workshop of this edition of Architecture in the Media. This title is Back and Forth, Press Relations for Architecture between Project and the Media. The idea is to have a more interactive session with all of you. And we are very, very happy to have with us Christiane Bürklein. She is German. She had a degree in modern foreign language and literature in Genoa. She was a language consultant and Renzo Piano studio, translator, interpreter, and consultant for Italian agency and companies. In 2011, she joined the team of the international portal Fleur Nature. So she's a journalist. She is writing for...
I'm a blogger. I'm not a journalist. I'm only a blogger.
She's only a blogger for Fleur Nature. She has collaborated on several books with Paolo Schianchi on communication. She was shortlisted for the curatorship of the Oslo Architecture Triennale in 2019 and the Italian Architecture Biennale in 2022. And she's an online editor in, I don't know.
In Rotterdam at MEWRDW with Winnie Maas I'm working.
Okay. And she was senior communication expert at the Architecture Jumber Planning Studio KCAP. And now she works for Land Studio as media relation manager. So she has a very huge experience for what we would like to go in deep today. That is this journey of the communication from the creation of contents, many times in the architecture studio, and how it arrives to a blog or to a magazine or to the bigger audience. So thank you very much, Christiane, for accepting my invitation. And
no, thank you so much for having me here.
The stage.
Because normally I prefer being behind the stage. It's not my thing that normally you would never see me, because what I do is others will see it, but it's not about me, because I'm always working as a consultant for other people. So I call myself like a Richelieu, you know, I'm working behind the scenes, and that's what I like to do. In any case, Miriam, she asked me to tell who I am. Okay, let's go. Where it starts, very easy. I'm quite old, so I was 10 years old when I saw this building. You will know what it is. And I thought before that architecture was something very boring, because my granddad was a famous architect. My dad is a landscape architect, and I was like, okay, architecture is about like boring stuff. And I saw this building, was like, hey Dad, what's this? And he told me, oh, that's architecture, you know, contemporary things, they're doing horrible things right now. And I was like, cool, I like it. So actually the thing was, I was really fascinated, because, you know, I was 10 years old, and you see such a building. It was in every magazine at the time, because it was really famous, you know, because it was really something disruptive, the famous word we're using now all the time. But even the 70s, they knew about that. And what I saw then, my dad, he had a, how do you say it, a prescription. He got this magazine every month, Bauwelt, this very famous German magazine, I think you will know it. And I have seen, you know, I was excited about this building, and I read the thing like, oh, it's a horrible thing, how could they do probably such a horrible architecture in Paris, and it's the most horrible, controversial building in Paris after the Eiffel Tower. And I was like, hey, but it's cool, you know, it's something different. Actually, it talks to people. It's about people. It's about how you relate to a building. And I was fascinated, and I was a little girl. And this made me, yeah, like reading all this, because I was always, I love reading and writing. And I was reading all this, and I love the words they were using, you know. Oh my God, what bullshit, whatever bad words they could use, probably use for this building. And this was in an architectural magazine. While in the other magazines, like, everybody has had an opinion about architecture. And it was the first time, I guess, that everybody was talking about architecture, and I was like, that's cool, I like it. Because everybody told me, Christiane, you're too stupid, you can't probably become an architect. You know, a girl, mathematics, no thing, and I didn't become an architect, actually. But life is strange, and so I went from Germany to Italy, and I knew one thing. Renzo Piano, my God, was working in Genoa. And then this is why I always say, guys, dream big, huh? Because if you dream big, somehow you can do it. And of course, I was stupid, you know, I couldn't do architecture probably, because, you know, can't do math, stupid. But I could do languages. and literature. And so I became, like, I get out my degree, as Miriam said, in modern languages and literature. But yeah, life is strange, and I met somebody who worked for Renzo Piano, and he was working in Berlin, and I was German. And this is how I got to Renzo Piano, because I was helping him with as a German for the translations. And so I started like being in the world of architecture without being an architect. So that is why I love architecture, but I'm not an architect. And what I understood, like also because of my degree and also of my work then, because then I became a translator, because in the 90s it was quite efficient to be from German, like translating from Italian to German was quite a thing at the time, and also like an interpreter. So I started as a language mediator. So I started with Renzo Piano, and then it became my profession actually. So I always translated from one language to another, but also between different mindsets. So I became a mediator. And this is what I'm still doing right now, because I'm mediating between people who are not architects and architects to make architecture relatable to the people. And this is why I'm here, I guess. And then I became a blogger. It was quite fun at the time. It was in 2011 when Facebook, wow, Facebook is dead right now. But at the time, Facebook was the thing. And I started like, I was on Facebook and I followed several architectural pages. And there was Flow Nature. Flow Nature is actually the first Italian architectural platform. Flow Nature was founded in 2001 as an online platform for architecture. It is financed by Iris Ceramica Group. They are Italian tile makers, a really big firm. And the founder of this firm decided to make architecture accessible to everybody. So he decided not to make a print magazine, because, if you want a print magazine, you have to go to the newsstand, you have to buy a thing. And he founded an online platform with really very famous also directors. We had Casagrande, whatever. And and I started following this page, and I commented, because sometimes it were horrible articles. I was like, hey guys, that's not going well here. And they was asking questions. So I asked questions, at the times people would read still, and they would also answer you. And so we got in touch with a director. It was Paolo Schianchi, and now he became my mentor and one of my best friends right now. And he asked me, Christiane, you're writing every day, you're doing comments. What do you think? Write your own shit. And I was like, that's great. I'm not an architect. And he was like, exactly. You're not writing about the projects and the major things. You will become the blogger. Because as a blogger, you can mediate. You can tell people things, perhaps the minor aspects of architecture, which is a thing I love, actually. So then I started blogging for the thing, and now it's really a lot of time, many, many years I'm blogging for these guys. And yeah, so now, and then also when I was organizing events and, for the website, I got in touch with MVRDW at the time. And when they asked for somebody for the PR office, and I decided in 2018 it was the time to change a little bit in my life. My daughter was growing up, and my son is already an adult man. So I was okay, hey ho, let's go. And so I went to Rotterdam and was one of the staff of the PR office of MVRDW, working together with Jan Knicker. I think he's one of the best PR people we have in the world right now, I guess. And so I learned quite a lot about how to create content, how to sell content, and how to do things that everybody likes you. And if they don't like you, and you fuck up, because it happens quite a lot, and how to react. So I learned quite a lot. And then I started working for KCAP, and they're urbanists. So I also tried to go into other aspects, not only build architecture, because I also found out that build architecture might be perhaps not for everybody, but while the urban space is for everybody. This is a space we live on a daily basis. And then I came back to Italy. I don't bore you with the pandemic and whatever shit hit the fan at the time. And now I'm working as a media relations manager for one of the best companies I have ever worked for, because they are not architects, like not building architects, they are landscape architects. And this is so fun and easy, because you don't sell architecture, you sell happiness and green space. And it's not about greenwashing. And so this really makes a big shift, because you're talking about shifts since yesterday. And this also made me understand how we have actually to look in how we communicate and how we talk to people. Because now, for me, it's quite easy because, we are the ones who are doing the green race in Milano. We are doing Porta Romana, all the green stuff. We have done Porta Nuova. We are doing whatever. I think Piazza Loreto will become a big success because in the end there will be 300 trees. It's not about traffic or whatever. It's about trees in the city. We are breaking up the asphalt. That's totally easy now. And this is something which really made me understand that it's so important how you talk to people. Because now I have a different language, I can use a different language, but I think also everybody can use it and become more inclusive, more empathic, more inclusive, embrace all. And that's what I try to tell you today. This was my introduction.
Can you tell us a project that for you was a nice project because the result was big or interesting for the audience or what you were doing, and another case on the contrary of something you liked a lot and was not so well received by your client or by the audience? We would like to go more a bit in deep or all the things that you did.
Actually, as a blogger, I haven't had this bad experience, actually, because as a blogger, knowing my audience quite well and looking for something new always, like looking especially for young architects, for young people, not only architects, but also artists, so really going beyond the bubble. As a blogger, I had little problems. While working with architectural offices, yes, of course, because you can have big problems because if the communication goes wrong. So actually, as a blogger, I had really big success. For instance, when I talked, I don't know, you might probably not know anymore, Thun Tegnestu. That was a Norwegian architectural office, just 2 guys, and they did really a lot of things. And I think you can ask David Basulto tonight; he would know about them, because these people were just 2 guys from Norway, and they started communicating so well. They had always the same photographer at the time. They did like social inclusive projects in Thailand, whatever around in Vietnam, whatever. And they were really great communicators. And then I had the chance to write the book with them. And because they asked me, hey, can you help us to write the book? And I was really happy. That was one of my success stories, I guess. While as an architectural office PR person, oh yes, we had several big problems. Because not always it's well received what you do, and perhaps you really do a mistake in choosing the language. So I think I wasn't involved anymore, but I think one of the most famous things you will know about MBRDV is like when we did the Marble Mount in London. It was like badly received because the renderings were super nice, and then in real life it was quite different. And this was perhaps we were over-enthusiastic about the project, and then you see people did not receive it well because it wasn't done by the people and with the people. And so I also understood that if you want to communicate well, you have to talk to the people very early, on a very early stage, even as an architectural office, and to make sure that all the stakeholders are with you. So actually I always prefer when we do when I communicate also now projects for land, normally as a landscape architect, we're not in lead. That's quite nice if you're not in lead, so the responsibilities on the others. So you have to ask the others, like you have to make a group, you have to create like a group and like, can we say this? No. So you can like find a common language. But if you're alone, you can really mess it up. So as an architectural office, I had quite some bad experience, but nothing that can't resolve with a good exit strategy. Yeah, that's always something you should have in mind. I always thought that no, we don't need like an emergency strategy. Yes, you need one, always. You should know how to leave the stage without falling down and breaking your neck. And so I learned quite a lot from my colleague at the time, and she is really a wonderful PR person, and she would know how to do, and how to manage. Also, if people are angry, you have to manage, and also if you get bad comments on social media. Do you cancel it? Do you do cancel culture, or do you answer? And what would you answer? This was quite tough. And especially with MVRDV, these people are like polarizing, I don't know anybody who's like, oh, you love them or you hate them. Or you're a groupie like me. I'm a groupie. I'm their groupie. So actually this is why I work for them, or still working for them. But there is nothing in the middle, I think. And this was quite tough, but if you have a team and you have this exit strategy, like this emergency strategy, and we have it all the time, because whatever they do, it's controversial somehow, and that's why you have to prepare, like what can we say if something bad happens, and you have to try to be very honest, and also to admit that you make mistakes. And this is very, very tough, but I think it's like being honest, like in real life. What I always say, if you are honest in real life, you should also be it in online life, because people will understand when you lie. Because as we say in German, lies have short legs, you know? You can't run very fast if you lie so much.
And so in general, between all these your experiences, which is your idea? Why is a challenge for architecture to gain visibility in newspapers, in more generalistic media?
It's not a challenge at all. I think people are very much interested right now. I think talking again about the shift, I think we are really assisting to a shift in perception of our space we are living in. And especially I think pandemic helped quite a lot to make people understand what is about urban space, what is about our living space, and people are becoming more conscious right now. So I think that before the pandemic, it might have been an issue, but you know, if you were not like a star architect or not a big name, but even the small names, and I can tell you, I always admired Spanish or Catalan architects, because I always found out they had like you have PR agencies, you do really cool stuff here, you know, you are trusting people who are doing, you're an architect, and so you go to people who do their job, you know, that is why that's why I know Marta, you know, because I knew her like when they first started to do the Catalan pavilion in the Biennale. So I really found out that before it was not so easy, but now people are getting more aware about what does it mean living in a shitty architecture, living in a city with a lot of traffic, or like people had the time to reflect. So I think this is the very best moment right now to start talking about architecture in a very compelling way. Because now is the time, I think really the shift has come, you know, we are talking about slow mobility. We are talking about, you know, walking, flaneur, promenadologie, whatever. And if we don't talk to people now, when people are really aware of what happens, and you are living in Barcelona, I think that's, wow, more hype than this, you know. You're living in this city of the moment. You know, I've seen things, I was like, looks like Milano, oh, it looks like Scalofarini, I don't know, Porta Romana, but you're digging up the city, you are trying to make the big difference here right now, yeah? Also about urbanism, the city is very easy. I think I wouldn't need a car in Barcelona. I could go everywhere by public transport or walking, or, you know, I'm not I don't like bikes, even if I was in the Netherlands for quite some time, but I like walking. And so I think, if we are smart now, as communicators, we will be always on the first pages. And we see it already in Italy. You know, Italy is a bit, you know, as Christina said this morning, everything is architecture in Italy. But everything is architecture, actually. We are living in a built environment. And so if we are smart, really right now, I think we can get it and become really the ones who mediate between what architects do and what people experience on a daily basis. Because if we tell the right things, people would also be even more aware on the big impact architecture can actually make. And I'm not talking only about buildings, because I think if you have like, okay, a high rise can make a big difference, because if you are living nearby and you are actually in the shadow thingy of the high rise, you are getting quite angry. You will be angry about that. And if you have too many high rise, you will also get like the wind tunnels, and you will have not a good quality on the floor where people would walk, because it's nice if you are walking at the 100th floor, the 50th floor, but if you are walking down, in New York, I hate it actually. I like New York quite a lot, but you know, I was like, oh, it's not that, you know, you are feeling always like it's windy, it's a bit strange, it's like in a canyon, and you wouldn't see the horizon, you know. You walk in Barcelona, you see everything. It's fine, you have wide alleys, you can walk, you can have fun here. And I think if we tell the right thing, and as Europeans we can, I think it's now our time. And so I think it's a very good moment. The best ever, I think, because it's revolution time.
And which is your relation with social media? And which social media do you prefer, or do you use more? Because, of course, on one side, as you said, in the studio, there is audience who love them, and people who hate them. So how is the the relation with social media or with flow nature? That is another
Yeah.
aspect of your job. How do you use social media in the
I
blog?
guess that I say something very unpopular right now. Internet and social media, we are already beyond social media. To my point of view, I would use social media. I like Instagram. I loved Twitter before it was bought by Musk. I loved it. I really loved it. But now I don't use it anymore because I have some strange ideas. So no, but I really loved it very much because it helped me to concentrate, to focus, to make this small thingies, which were significant. You could say something. I loved it. As social media right now, like as an architectural office with Land, we are using mostly Instagram, hoping in good pictures, and I can tell you, doing landscape, you never have good pictures, never ever, because landscape takes ages before it comes Instagrammable. It's really a big mess. Personally, I think Instagram is nice to tell about, like showing a showcase, like, vitrina, a showcase. You can show people, like was said this morning, you can see what people do in their offices, what's going on. I personally very much like LinkedIn if I want to convey content, also as Flow Nature. We are now focusing more on LinkedIn, but Instagram is the easiest thing too. And I have to confess, my daughter's using TikTok. I'm too old for that. And I'm actually working with young people who know their shit. So they would tell me, oh, Christiane, I would give the strategy, and then they would like translate it, because I also understand right now that is not my time anymore for certain things. And I think it's also very nice if you can say, I know other things. And so the social media, I have a wonderful social media manager. It's her job actually to do this. And together we make the strategy and we tell what we can post probably, but we use mostly Instagram. So Instagram I like, and also personally I like Instagram. I love Instagram because it's very easy, accessible. It seems easy. Yeah, it's not easy, but it seems easy. And and other than that, I guess for me, the most important thing for an architectural office is still website. Because I would judge, I'm terrible, I would judge you by your website. Oh yes, I would do so. So I still tell my clients, because I'm also a consultant to several important architectural offices, because actually I'm a freelance, so you know how it works in Italy. You get paid, I'm at hours, like a bitch. So actually this is what I'm, so I would also tell my other clients that for me it would be important that when I Google them, I would see a nice website. And if the social media is not as well done, because I can also understand that many architectural offices have no budget to pay somebody who does it properly. Because I think social media done bad is even worse than like just okay, I don't do it, I'm not able to, Because I think you can really mess it up quite a lot if you have a bad, and I have seen it, because with Land we had we had really big issues, and I know by experience, there was no plan, there was like going random, and you give a horrible experience to people, and people say, these guys don't telling very well, they're not selling their story well. So I would rather prefer having a nice website. I would update here and then, but at least with a nice graphic impact. But I say, okay, these guys have good taste or bad taste, whatever, but at least taste. And, at least something, so I would do this. So for me, it's still like social media fine if you have somebody in your office who is able to manage them. Other than that, have a nice website and try to be on top, like the tendencies, what's going on, not having a website like still with, I have seen things, especially in Italy, websites, and in Spain you are very, very light years ahead. We are really going well here.